Hello all, it's Tom, the taxi driver. Today's Thursday, 26th of March, during the Corona lockdown. I'm in the back of my cab, not working. Unfortunately, it's just not safe to go out there and work. So, following the Prime Minister's advice to sit at home and stay safe, really save lives. What I want to talk about today is time management on the knowledge. I'm going to try to keep this quite quick, quite brief, and this really wants to coincide with what a lot of knowledge students are going through at the moment, whereby they can't go out on their bike, they can't go to London because you're not seeing it as a priority. I know some people, I've been looking over the knowledge forums, and some people saying, do I go out there, do I don't go out there? My general best advice is that if you're out on your bike and you get involved in an accident, you're going to be more of a burden on the NHS at this time. So stay safe, just be at home, do your map work, doing all your call over as well, and also you're not being able to go out for your appearances as well. I know that if I was still on the knowledges, I'd be incredibly stressed about that, because I got really quite routine. Know when my appearances were coming up, I'd work down to that date, and this is what I'm going to share in this video: what I would do in that situation and what I would do in your situation now. And I'm going to approach it from all angles, all different knowledge students. So for the people that are just starting out in the knowledge, the people that are running your blue books, or running your blue books and doing pointing, be it whiz and knowledge point, no way is the correct way. Always get you to one of these badges, so long as you follow it through. So I done kind of like a knowledge point style, so I was doing runs and picking up points as well. My call over partner was Wizam. It's good to kind of get both those situations. I used to get books and materials from all the different knowledge schools. My sheets would come from Eleanor Cross. I'd get pointing materials from Wizam. I'd get books from knowledge point. It really doesn't matter. For those of you starting out, in terms of your time management, what you need to do is set out a schedule, a timeline to aspire to. I've done this in my first few books. I'd only buy one knowledge book at a time. Blue Book 1, once I've completed that, go on to Blue Book 2, and so forth. You don't need all of those sitting in front of you saying, why haven't you done all these runs yet? Why haven't you done all these runs? So take it a book at a time, just go one book at a time. It's like when people say, go run a few runs, see how it feels. So my time management task for you would be, okay, work out how many runs realistically you can go out and digest in a single sitting. And it's not just going out and running the runs, because that can be quite easy. It's ensuring, as part of your schedule, my average was probably about 3 runs a session. If I went out across London, I'd go do 3 runs. But in part of going to run those 3 runs, it's also committing those to memory. Otherwise, you could go out and do 10 runs. But if you're going to come back and not bother memorising them, pointless, don't bother. So 3 runs, because I knew that was a good 3 runs a session, because I knew that was a good amount. I could go out and still come back and memorise those. I then worked out that if I went out 3 times a week or 4 times a week, I could then get through 9 or 12 runs a week. All of a sudden you start building up a bit of a pattern about how long it's going to get you through those books. And I'd really encourage this, because the more more of a schedule you get, the more the implication is, okay, if I fall off here, then I won't be done those books by Christmas. I won't be done by here. So build up a bit of a profile about how long it's going to take for you to get through all those 320 runs. Because it is a big task. It took me about 1.5 years to get through those runs. But I think if I'd have given myself a better schedule to begin with, I would have been a lot more effective. So that's for people starting out with your runs as well. And yeah, same goes for pointing. Have a good system of pointing. In terms of calling over runs, the general consensus once you get onto appearances, that everyone would call about 80 runs a day. This is what I did all throughout my knowledge, right up until that fateful day, and I got that fateful handshake. 80 runs a day. This is largely just to keep runs fluent in your mind. Keep those words, how you'd enunciate those words, how you'd say the roads out loud. Difficult road names: Micklethwaite Grove, Walham Grove, stuff like that. You have to say it out loud. You can't just call it over in your head. You have to out loud, as though you're presenting it to an examiner. The examiner should be able to hear that, so you should be able to be crystal clear how you orate and how you say those words. That's part of the practice as well. But more on the time management side of things, when you begin your runs, obviously you're not going to have that many runs to call over. So make it a target of calling 10 runs a day, or maybe you still call 20, even if you've only gone out and run 5. Keep going through them, keep repeating them until they become textbook. When I got through towards the later part of the knowledge, and to try and make sure that my run calling was really concise. I'd do 80 runs a day. I'd call 80 runs a day. What I would do is I'd wake up and call 20 runs. I'd call 20 runs on my lunch break, I'd call 20 runs when I get home from work, and I'd call 20 runs before I go to bed. And what this ensured I did was that I wouldn't just rush through them. It'd be 20 nice paced. You could almost take, up to 30 seconds or so to call each run, meaning the exercise takes 10 minutes. 10 minutes when you wake up, 10 minutes on lunch break, 10 minutes when you get home, and 10 minutes before you go to bed. It's quite easy to do that way. And also, call the runs out of sequence. Your brain likes to try to create patterns and memorize what's coming next. So if you've just done Manor House to Gibson Square, the next run from Thornhill Square down to wherever it goes, I don't know where it goes. It's been a while since I've done these. Your brain will instinctively memorize that. So try and mix up all the runs. You don't know what run is coming next, and that then helps your brain click into gear a bit more. What I did, in fact, was that I penned up all of my runs and took a photo of each one against the map, just so you could see like a little black line on the map. Now, what I then did was I put them into an app and had these randomly come at me. So basically, someone could show me any one of those photos of those 320 runs, which I converted into a line, and I could look at that and go, yep, that's Fitzjohn's Avenue to Fitch-Harding Street, and then I'd go ahead and call that run. So try and get them out of order, change them from words into a visual, because at the end of the day, that map in your head is all about being visual as well. Once you get on the 56s, you then have to juggle runs, points, and calling over, the three fundamental things. Also, blue book, calling over, and point to point. No, let me get that right. Calling your blue book, points, point to point, and I suppose the fourth one's actually going out and learning more roads. So it's juggling that between those three. My advice would be prioritise it in terms of your appearance. So what do I mean by that? Straight after an appearance would be the time that I would go out and learn new points, new areas, new runs, new roads. Why do I do that? On 56 you should have a whole 2 months to try and digest all those new points, roads, etc. And same with 28. You'd have, if you do it straight after your appearance, you'd have about a month to 3 weeks to try and digest all those roads. You're not going to go out and learn brand new, fresh points, fresh roads and areas the day before your appearance, or even a week up to your appearance, because it takes a while for your brain to let this all settle in. What you need to be doing in the week leading up to your appearance is working on your fluency, how well you can call runs, how well you can pull points. That's the more important work. So my bike work was really, in fact, my bike work was most prominent straight after an appearance. That's when you want to get out and fill your brain with all this knowledge, go through over your weak areas and get really immersed in it. And as it then goes on, as your month goes on, or however long your time is up to your next appearance, you then need to get fighting fit, fighting ready. It's the same with like a marathon runner or a boxer. They don't go all out balls to the wall in the first month if their fight is 6 months away. They gradually ramp up the process, and then it ensures that on that 6 month, that time when their fight night is ready, or that time when you have your appearance, when you're ready for it, you are the most geared up and ready you need to be. Things I would do the same in terms of like sleep. I would often have, quite because of my proximity of how far I'd lived away from London, I would my sleep would sometimes take a bit of a hit, because I'd be out really late night doing my runs, and not get back until like 1 in the morning. I have to go to work at 8 in the morning, so my sleep would take a hit. But coming nearer to the appearance, sleep would take priority. I'd want to get those 8 hours in all the time. That helps your brain consolidate new memories. You want to be mentally sharp for the appearance. So things like water, keep yourself incredibly hydrated. Your brain needs a lot of water to keep hydrated. All those kinds of things. With the situation that's going on at the moment, with a lot of you guys and girls not being able to go to your appearances or not being able to get out on the roads, do whatever you can to keep active and busy within the knowledge. But like the boxing analogy, don't overstress, don't overwork yourself, months before the appearance. We've all had it. If you've had an appearance, that feeling you have afterwards, that deflation, you've had all this stress, you've worked so hard, and after the appearance, you then got to have that afternoon where you relax before the next day you get back onto the knowledge. So don't go balls to the wall now. This is almost a real nice break for you guys. Still keep active, call your points, call your runs, but I would use this as a point to cool down a little bit. It does, and speaking from personal experience, being on the knowledge, it does feel like it's a 24-hour job. You go to bed, you're dreaming about these road networks, you're watching TV, and you're going, oh, that's Baker Street, and all stuff like that. So it is always go, go, go. But at this sort of current time, in the same way that I can't go to work, I'm itching to go to work. I love going to work. I can't. There's no work out there. It's not safe for me to do so. And the same comes to the knowledge. Your appearances aren't coming up anytime soon. Just keep it ticking over, but just crank it down to 50% or whatever it may be. And then once the appearances start up again, readjust your schedules to that. So my main take home point for this is that do any big mental intrinsic kind of work a few months up to the appearance, and that gives you a lot of time to get it in your brain and get it all settled in. And then leading up to your appearance, you want to do focusing on things like cooling over, cooling points, how quickly you can retain those, mat work, a combination of everything really. One of the big exercises I would do before an appearance, or the week leading up to the appearance, a few days beforehand, would be road streaming, strike runs, all that fun stuff. And the idea of that is basically to get you fluent with calling the map. So start somewhere west, the most western extremity or north, wherever, and just run the roads forward as long as possible. Just keep going and going and going. Hackney Road, forward into Old Street, comply Old Street roundabout, leave by Old Street, forward into Clerkenwell Road, forward into Theobald's Road, left into Drake Street, forward into Red Lion Square, forward to Proctor Street, and so on and so forth. Keep doing that until you run out of roads, and that's just a fluency exercise. How quickly can you pull the next road? Because sometimes those little, remember to call Red Lion Square and stuff like that can really sort of throw you off if you're not being fluent with it. And I suppose my other final point, it's going to escape me now. Maybe that was it. Just don't get too stressed about it, and honestly, come back, fighting harder once the appearances start up again. Any comments, questions, tips, put them below. Like, comment, subscribe. That all works wonders for me. I really want to share lots more on the knowledge and taxi driving in general. I'll see you all again soon.